is Marsha Warfield, John Matusak, and Jane Wheatland, Joey Carbone, and the Gong Show guys. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the toast of the host, Drew Don Blue.
Hey, welcome to the Gong Show. We want you to sit back and relax after our show. Here comes a couple of dancers who, like Fred Astaire and Tommy Tunes, use their feet. Welcome, Atomic Tron. You guys, come on right over here. Wonderful. I'm sorry, now, in the very beginning there, I called you Atomic Tron. It's Automatic Tron, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. Now, Tron, is that like short for Tronsky or Trontometer, or what is Tron? Tron.
Like a robot.
Huh?
Like a robot.
Like a robot, okay. Yeah, robotic like a machine. Well, this machine looks like it's running pretty fine, I'll tell you that. Let's look at the scores from the judges here. Now, you can get anywhere from 0 to 10. We start off with Marsha Warfield. I think you liked this act, didn't you, Marsha?
Well, I need a man with motion like that. I need 10.
All right. Now, from John Matusak, let's see what kind of score for Automatic Tron.
I give the guys a TBG. Tall timbers, blue skies, and giant redwoods. 9.5, brothers.
9. All right, that's a 9. Yeah. Okay. And now, Jane's got a new album coming out, right, called Fur. Actually, it's out right now, so maybe you guys can dance to that, huh? Let's find out what kind of a score from Jane Wheatland.
Here we go. I gave them a 9.
All right, a 9. Very good. These are very good numbers. What sort of work do you guys do?
I'm a computer operator.
And what does he do?
He's a salesman.
Salesman? Okay. Well, you've sold this pretty well, I'd say. All right, this is the computer age, and we're into it right here. You ready now? We're going to add these up. That's good. Do that again. Good. Okay. Now, Marsha gave you a 10. Then from John, you got a score of a 9. Jane gave you a 9 also. You add all that up. We're talking about a 28 for Automatic Tron. Very well done. See you guys later on. Yeah. Okay. Whoa. Well, our next act plays the spoons and probably hopes to go on maybe to bigger things like ladles and spatulas and things like that. Just about any household equipment, actually. Please welcome Eddie Karras. sorry that that happened to you, buddy.
Well, I'm sorry, too.
Yeah, this is a terrific act, and I don't know why. Marcia and Jane both, you both got involved in this one. Marcia, you want to take the responsibility?
To use spoons.
How's that?
There are better ways to use spoons.
Yeah, that's very true. Thanks very much for coming by, Eddie. Okay, yeah. Whoa! Okay, well, if you've never been in group therapy, you may want to consider it after you see these next acts that are coming up when we return on The Gong Show. Now, if you've never heard of this next act, you're part of a large, growing organization, and maybe everybody that ever lived. Here's Oscar Vergen.
I had a girl, Donna was her name. Since she left me, I never been the same. 'Cause I love my girl. Oh, Donna, where can you be? Where can you be? Now that you're gone, I'm left all alone. All by myself to wonder and know. 'Cause I love my girl. Oh, Donna, where can you be? Where can you be? Well, darling, now that you're gone, I don't know what I'll do. All the time, and all my love over you. I had a girl, Donna was her
Sorry. Yeah, is it okay?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, all right, he's going to be all right. Marcia, you're the guy. You're the guy. You're the one that gonged him here. I want to know why.
Donna told me to.
Is there a Donna?
No, there's not.
Yeah, you just kind of made it up to use the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it that you do? What do you do?
I'm a cashier and I'm a musician.
You're what?
I'm a cashier.
You're a cashier. Okay, all right. Well, thanks very much for coming by, and I'm sorry you got gong, but I'm sure we'll see you again on The Gong Show. Okay, bye-bye, buddy. Yeah. Oh! Marcia, I knew you weren't a guy. Come on, I knew it. Here's an act now that's here by request. He requested that we put him on the show. So, if you would please welcome Ramesh. Well, you got him up out of their chairs, didn't you, Ramesh? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
You're not from here, are you?
No, Ramesh.
No, yeah, I think so. Now, Ramesh, what is that, a cough medicine in India? What is that?
I'm an actor.
Uh-huh, yeah.
I work in movies.
You work in movies?
Yeah.
Indian movies?
Yeah, that's
You play an Indian?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. I like him. I like Ramesh a lot. Let's see, Marcia and Jane got together because John was out here. Jane,
Well, Don, the best thing about being on the Gong Show this week, I've gotten so many new fashion hints. And I think Ramesh is a good example of what's going to be in the next few months, so...
Okay. Maybe a little early on this. Thanks, Ramesh. Okay, yeah, okay. Hey. Here comes an act now that is ahead of its time. But we decided to put him on now, and we might as well get it over with, I guess. His name is Peter Chen.
Hi, my name is Peter Chan, and I'm a good driver. What is this about Oriental drivers? Why do they drive so slow? They should join NASA, NASA, National Asian Speeding Association. Now, if NASA couldn't train them to drive faster, then we can change their speedometers on their cars. So they think they like driving 45 on the freeway, when actually they're driving 65. Ha, 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 ha. Now, I don't like to drive, because every time I drive on the freeway, I have to cut somebody off. Don't ask me why. Because I have to look in the rearview mirror. And every time I look, the driver behind and all the passengers, everybody's shaking their heads. I hate it, because I know what they're thinking. They're thinking, another Oriental driver. Yeah. Now, you guys come to a stop sign, you stop. I come to a stop sign, I just keep going and look the other way. All the other drivers saw me not looking, they were had to stop to let me go first. That's why I'm the Oriental driver. And I've earned it. You know, the Orientals, they like to save face. I don't like my face. That's why I don't want to save it. Now, Ronnie Dangerfield's.
I thought this act was very inventive. You have a big Chinese following?
Not really, but I wrote all my own jokes. So.
I'll bet. Yeah. We were thinking that. We were actually thinking that. John Matuzak has gonged you, and we're going to find out why.
I really like this guy. He's a very nice person. He dresses well, but he tells jokes like he drives. But I like him.
What sort of work do you do?
Well, to make a living, I can't make a living doing this.
Yeah.
I'm a computer programmer.
Computer what?
Programmer.
Programmer. Computer programmer. Thank you very much. That was a great act. Yeah. Whoa. Go program yours. Here we go. I want you to stick around because the Gong Show will continue in just a minute or so.
Coming up on the next episode.
Okay, well, welcome back. I'd like to welcome back our celebrity panel. Marcia Warfield, of course, from Night Court. Great to have you here.
Thank you. It's
Now,
great to be here.
What are you doing lately, Marcia?
I'm traveling around the country bringing warmth and merriment and humor to the underprivileged masses.
Well, isn't that... What a sweetheart, huh? What a great lady. John Matuzak here today. John, of course, former Los Angeles and Oakland Raider, now big movie star. I'm saying big movie star. The new movie, what's it called, John?
Just finished a new action-adventure thing, my first starring role in a thing called Maximum Force. You'll like it. You'll like it.
Now, well, and our third panelist this week is Jane Weedland. Jane, your album is called Fur.
Yes.
The second single will be out soon.
Yeah, the new single's called Inside a Dream, and I'd like to personally urge each and every one of you to rush right out and buy it right as soon as the show's over.
All right.
And I'd also
terrific.
I need to make a comment. I think this audience today seems especially cruel.
Yeah. All right.
Have you noticed that?
Just an observation, of course, but that's good.
You're mean. Your
That's
guys
what we're
are
looking
bad
for in
and
this
you're mean.
panel. Okay, thank you. A terrific panel. We're glad you're here this week. Now, let's get on with it. Here we go. You can see this lady in Crocodile Dundee 2. She's going to the 7:45 showing. Here's Francesca.
Let me say it feels so great since we've been together. Ooh, loving you forever is all I need. Let me be the one you come running
I was looking over your card before you came out, and I see that your father's in the Secret Service. Is that right?
He just retired, yes.
Have you ever met like President Reagan or anybody?
I met him once. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I met him once, and then I met him again, and he didn't remember me. He didn't remember meeting me the first time. So.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hi, this is my daughter, Francesca. This is the President of the United States. Very good. All right, well, let's check out these scores here, all right? We've got Marcia ready to score Francesca.
Well, anybody who can wear that little skirt deserves a 9.
All right, look out, Tina. Yes. Okay, that was the first time that John Matuzak looked away right there for just a second. John?
Well, I won't forget you. And Al Green would be proud the way he did his song. I'll give you 10.
All right. And from Jane Weedland.
A very large voice coming out of a very small person. I gave you a 9.
All right. Whoa. These are great scores. Let's recap the scoring here. First of all, from Marcia, she gave you a 9. You got a 10 from John. And then Jane gives you a 9, a grand total of 28. Very good. We'll see you a little bit later on. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yes, give that woman an inch. She'll make a dress out of it. Yes. That is some act. Let me tell you. Listen, you've got an act. You think you can do something like that? We want to see you right here. There's a number that comes up at the end of the show. If you've got an act and want to be on the Gong Show, call the number. Call the number, and you'll be on your way. We'll be right back with our winner of this show after this message.
Christmas, my favorite time of the year. Hi, I'm Louise Mandrell, and I'd like to tell you about a new album by Sessions called Christmas Wishes. This new 4-record collection has over 50 great holiday classics, performed by your favorite country singers. Just listen.
Red paper, pretty ribbons of blue.
It came upon a midnight clear.
Silver bells, Noel, Noel, I'll be home.
Christmas Wishes is filled with a special arrangement of Christmas favorites, from jingle bells to a truly fine collection of traditional hymns and carols. Here's more.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Silent night.
Oh, little town of Bethlehem, have yourself a merry little Christmas.
There's an old Christmas card. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, walking in a winter wonderland. Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Christmas Wishes is available on 4 records or 3 cassette tapes for only $19.95. 2 compact discs, only $24.95. Here's how to order.
Credit card and COD customers call toll-free 1-800-248-6800 or save COD fees by sending $19.95 for 4 records or 3 cassette tapes or $24.95 for 2 compact discs, plus $3 shipping and handling to Christmas Wishes, 968 Farmington Avenue, Department TIC, West Hartford, Connecticut.
Bruce was a dentist who loved to operate.
Well, he certainly cleared my sinuses. We met every Tuesday. You too.
Until someone performed fatal surgery on him.
Why would one of his women want to kill him? He took some pictures.
God, I'd love to kill a dentist.
Raul Julia.
I suspect everybody.
Oh, well, I
Susan Sarandon.
I could never be intimate with someone who wore a pinky ring.
Compromising positions.
Tonight at 8 on Channel 61.
Well, time for that magic moment. This has been a terrific show. We'd like to thank all of the contestants for taking part in the show. We'd like to thank Joey Carbone and those mindless musicians over there. Now, this was a tough one because we had a tie at 28 points. Marcia Warfield, John Matuzak, Jane Weedland, of course, had to confer and make up their mind who was going to pick out this $701 check, this incredible trophy. A tie between Francesca and Automatic Tron. Our winner is Automatic Tron. Where are they? Here they are. Come on over. Get your trophy. Come on over, get your check. The men with inflatable pants. Who will win next time? We don't know, but you be here for the Gong Show. Bye-bye, everybody.
If you have a weird or unusual act and would like to be on The Gong Show, call 213-442-3575.
Tonight at 8, Susan Sarandon and Raul Julia team up on the trail of a murderer.
Swab for your family. Because a swab by any other name just isn't the same. The Episauna. A 10-minute facial at home. No healthy skin should be...
Nintendo's exciting new power set.
Prom night, now guess who's that girl with the beautiful dress? Perfect prom maxi. Perfect prom maxi.
She's scented and comes with a scented necklace. Perfect prom maxi.
Nosy bears, nosy bears.
They have a nose to
Nosy
I give them a squeeze.
Nosy bears, nosy bears.
And what do I see?
They love to share the fun with me.
Now Cheerios gives kids the power to vote on issues like stopping pollution and housing the homeless.
Thank you.
Announcing Cheerios Kid Power Election. By voting on the issues and sending in your ballot, you and a kid from every state might win a trip to Washington to tell a congressman how you voted. Details in specially marked boxes of Cheerios.
The vibrant hum of electricity filled the air as the broadcast signal surged toward the homes of New England. It was a golden evening for television, emanating from the prestigious halls of Channel 61, the most powerful and influential television station in the region. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, a mixture of nervous energy and the sweet scent of stage makeup. The theme music began to play, a lively and rhythmic tune that promised a night of unpredictable joy and light-hearted competition. This was more than just a broadcast. It was a gathering of souls looking for a moment of fame and a chance to share their unique talents with a world that was always hungry for a smile. The lyrics of the opening song bounced through the studio, reminding everyone that while there had been a touch of talent before, it just was not good enough until now. The song teased the audience, suggesting that when they thought it was safe, the grand spectacle was back in all its glory. The host stepped onto the stage with a grin that could light up a city. He welcomed the viewers to the Gong Show, inviting everyone to sit back, relax, and let the worries of the day melt away. He spoke with a voice that was both comforting and exciting, setting the stage for what was to come. He announced the arrival of the first act, comparing them to the legendary greats like Fred Astaire and Tommy Tunes, performers who could make their feet speak a language of their own. The audience erupted in applause as Automatic Tron made their way to the center of the spotlight. These were no ordinary dancers. They were masters of the robotic movement, their bodies shifting with a precision that seemed almost supernatural. They began their performance to a driving beat, singing about things that one does not simply machine. Their movements were hard as a pedestal, a physical transformation that held the crowd in a state of wonder. "I can transform," they sang, their voices echoing the sentiment of a digital age. They promised the audience that their voice patterns would be visible every time they spoke, a rhythmic and mechanical display of art that blurred the line between man and machine. When the performance concluded, the host stood beside them, still caught up in the excitement. He mistakenly called them Atomic Tron at first, but quickly and graciously corrected himself to Automatic Tron. He inquired about the name, wondering if Tron was short for something like Tronsky or Trontometer. One of the dancers, with a humble and steady gaze, explained that it was simply like a robot. The host nodded, noting that the robotic machine before him was running quite fine indeed. It was time for the moment of truth as they turned to the celebrity panel to see the scores. The range of possibilities stretched from 0 to 10, and the first judge to speak was Marcia Warfield. Marcia, known for her sharp wit and presence on Night Court, looked at the young men and admitted that she needed a man with motion like that in her life. Without hesitation, she awarded them a perfect 10. The crowd cheered, and the energy in the room climbed even higher. Next came the evaluation from John Matuzak, a man whose physical presence was as large as his heart. John, a former professional football player who had found a second home in the world of cinema, offered his praise in a unique and poetic fashion. He spoke of tall timbers, blue skies, and giant redwoods, a metaphor for the strength and scale of the performance. He gave the duo a score of 9.5, which was rounded and recorded as a solid 9 in the tally. Then, the host turned to Jane Wiedlin, a talented musician whose new album titled Fur was already capturing the hearts of fans everywhere. The host suggested that perhaps the dancers could even perform to her music one day. Jane smiled and revealed her score, which was another impressive 9. The numbers were very high, and the host took a moment to ask the performers about their lives outside the spotlight. One revealed he worked as a computer operator, while the other was a salesman. The host joked that he had certainly sold the act well, declaring that this was indeed the computer age, and they were right in the middle of it. Adding the scores together, Automatictron walked away with a grand total of 28 points, a phenomenal start to the evening. The pace of the show changed as the host introduced the next act, a man named Eddie Carruth. Eddie brought a different kind of music to the stage, one that relied on the simple kitchen spoon. The host joked that Eddie might eventually move on to bigger things like ladles or spatulas, or perhaps any household equipment he could find. However, the performance was met with the sudden and jarring sound of the gong. The host expressed his sympathy for Eddie, noting that it was a terrific act in its own way, but Marcia and Jane had decided it was not quite what they were looking for that evening. Marcia suggested that there were perhaps better ways to use spoons, a witty comment that brought a chuckle from the crowd. Despite the outcome, Eddie was thanked for his bravery and for coming by to share his craft. The host then spoke to the audience about the concept of group therapy, suggesting that they might consider it after seeing the next series of acts. He introduced Oscar Virgen, a performer who might not have been famous yet, but who is now part of a large and growing organization of people who had graced the stage. Oscar began to sing a song about a girl named Donna, but before he could reach the heart of the melody, the gong rang out once again. The host comforted him, telling him not to worry and that everything would be all right. He turned to Marcia, who had been the one to sound the gong, and asked why she had done it. With a playful glint in her eye, Marcia claimed that Donna had told her to do it. When asked if there actually was a Donna, Oscar admitted there was not. He had simply made it up to fit the song. Oscar shared that he worked as a cashier and was also a musician who played the guitar. Though he had been gonged, the host assured him that his presence was valued and that they would surely see him again in the future. Next on the stage was a man named Ramesh, who had arrived by his own special request. The host noted that Ramesh had managed to get the audience up on their chairs, a sign of his infectious energy. Ramesh explained that he was an actor from India who worked in the movies, often playing characters that reflected his heritage. The panel was intrigued by him. Jane Wiedlin remarked that being on the show had given her many new fashion hints, and she cited Ramesh as a prime example of what might be fashionable in the coming months. It was a moment of cross-cultural appreciation and lighthearted fun, highlighting the show's ability to bring people from all walks of life together under one roof. As the evening progressed, the host introduced Peter Chan, a man who described himself as being ahead of his time. Peter stepped up to the microphone with the confidence of a seasoned storyteller. He began a comedic routine about his experiences as a driver, touching upon the stereotypes surrounding Oriental drivers and the perceived speed at which they travel. He joked that they should join the National Asian Speeding Association, an organization he nicknamed NIESI. He suggested that if training did not work, they could simply change the speedometers on the cars so that drivers thought they were going 45 when they were actually doing 65. Peter spoke about the anxiety of cutting someone off on the freeway and seeing the frustrated looks of other passengers in the rearview mirror. He shared his unique approach to stop signs, where he would simply keep going and look the other way, forcing other drivers to stop. The host found the act to be very inventive and asked Peter if he had a large following. Peter humbly replied that he wrote all his own jokes. However, John Matuzak eventually sounded the gong. John explained that while he liked Peter and thought he was a well-dressed and nice person, he felt that Peter told jokes the same way he claimed to drive. Peter revealed that his primary career was that of a computer programmer. The host thanked him for his contribution and sent him off with a warm farewell, reminding everyone to stay tuned because the show was far from over. The broadcast transitioned into a brief intermission, a moment for the viewers at home to reflect on the talent they had seen. When the show returned, the host reintroduced the celebrity panel, giving each of them a moment to share what they had been doing lately. Marsha Warfield spoke about traveling the country to bring warmth, merriment, and humor to those in need, a sentiment that the host described as truly sweet. John Matuzak discussed his transition from the football field to the silver screen, mentioning his latest starring role in an action-adventure movie titled Maximum Force. Jane Weedlin encouraged everyone to find her new single, Inside a Dream, as soon as the show concluded. She also made a playful observation about the audience, suggesting they seemed particularly cruel that day, though the host countered that a bit of meanness was exactly what they were looking for in a panel. The next contestant to take the stage was a woman named Francesca. The host noted that she could be seen in the audience of a popular movie at the 7:45 showing, a clever way to introduce her before she began to sing. Francesca performed with a voice that was surprisingly large and powerful for her small frame. She sang a soulful rendition of a song by Al Green, her voice filling every corner of the studio with emotion. After her performance, the host looked over her card and discovered that her father had served in the Secret Service and had recently retired. Francesca shared a story about meeting President Reagan, noting with a laugh that she had met him twice, but he did not remember her the second time. The host marveled at the story, imagining the scene of a father introducing his daughter to the President of the United States. The scoring for Francesca was equally impressive. Marsha Warfield, admiring Francesca's style and confidence, gave her a 9. John Matuzak followed with a perfect 10, stating that Al Green himself would be proud of the performance. Jane Weedlin also gave her a 9, noting the incredible power of her voice. This brought Francesca to a grand total of 28 points, creating a tie with Automatictron. The host teased that if anyone in the audience had an act they thought could compete on such a level, they should call the number shown on the screen. As the show neared its conclusion, a series of messages played for the viewers. There was a heartwarming advertisement for a new music collection titled Christmas Wishes, featuring over 50 holiday classics performed by beloved country singers. The collection was available on records, cassette tapes, or compact discs, with prices ranging from $19.95 to $24.95. Another message promoted a mystery thriller movie titled Compromising Positions, starring Susan Sarandon and Raul Julia, scheduled to air at 8 in the evening on Channel 61. The evening's lineup also promised an episode of Three is Company, featuring a handsome English gentleman. Finally, the magic moment arrived. The host thanked all the contestants and the musicians, led by Joey Carbone, for their hard work. He acknowledged the difficult task the judges faced in breaking the tie between Francesca and Automatictron. After a brief conference, the winners were announced. Automatictron stepped forward to claim their trophy and a check for $701. The men with the inflatable pants had captured the hearts of the judges and the audience alike. As the credits began to roll and the theme music played one last time, the host bid everyone a fond farewell, inviting them to return for the next episode. The screen then displayed information for those interested in joining the show, providing a telephone number, 213-442-3575. The evening continued with advertisements for beauty products like the Epicana facial and the excitement of the new Power set from Nintendo. There were glimpses of toys like the Perfect Prom Maxi doll and the scented Nosy Bears. Even the cereal boxes of Cheerios were part of the cultural landscape, encouraging children to vote on important issues like pollution and homelessness, with a chance to win a trip to Washington to speak with a congressman. It was a snapshot of a time filled with hope, laughter, and the simple joy of a community coming together to celebrate the extraordinary in the ordinary. The broadcast ended as it began, with a sense of connection and the enduring power of human creativity. The evening air in New England was filled with a sense of electric anticipation as the signals from Channel 61 radiated across the landscape, marking the presence of the most powerful television station in the region. It was a time of bright lights, bold colors, and the kind of spontaneous joy that only a shared cultural moment could provide. The broadcast began with a familiar melody, a tune that suggested that while perfection was elusive, the effort itself was a victory. The music swelled, reminding every viewer that just when they thought it was safe to look away, the excitement was back in full force. The studio was a beehive of activity, a sanctuary for the eccentric and the talented alike, where the ordinary world was left at the door in favor of the spectacular. "Welcome to the Gong Show," the host announced with a voice that carried the warmth of an old friend and the charisma of a seasoned showman. He invited the audience to sit back and relax, promising a journey through the wonderful and the weird that would soothe the soul after a long day. The stage was set for the arrival of the first act, a duo whose mastery of movement recalled the legendary grace of Fred Astaire and the rhythmic precision of Tommy Tunes. These were not mere dancers. They were architects of motion who used their feet to tell a story of transformation. "Please welcome," the host cried out with genuine enthusiasm, "the incredible Automatictron." The music that accompanied their entrance was a pulsing, mechanical rhythm that seemed to bridge the gap between humanity and the machine. It was a song about the things one cannot simply build, a declaration of strength and the power of change. The lyrics echoed through the studio, speaking of pedestals and the breathtaking process of becoming something new. The dancers moved with a synchronized fluidity that defied the limitations of the human frame. Every pop, every lock, and every slide was a testament to their dedication to the craft of robotic dance. "I can transform," the music chanted, and the audience could see it happening before their very eyes. Their voice patterns seemed to ripple through their limbs every time they spoke through their movements, a mesmerizing display of the computer age brought to life. As the performance reached its crescendo and the final notes faded, the host stepped forward, his face beaming with admiration. He apologized briefly for a minor slip of the tongue, correcting himself to ensure the duo was recognized by their proper name, Automatictron. He inquired about the origin of the name, wondering if it was a shortened version of something more complex like Tronsky or Trontometer. The performer, still catching his breath but wearing a proud smile, explained that it was simply like a robot, a machine designed for the modern world. The host marveled at how well this particular machine was running, noting its fine-tuned precision. The time had come to face the legendary panel of judges, where a score could range anywhere from 0 to 10. First to speak was Marcia Warfield, a woman whose presence on the screen was defined by her wit and her keen eye for talent. Marcia did not hesitate, expressing a genuine appreciation for the fluid motion she had just witnessed. She declared that she needed a man with that kind of rhythm and movement in her life, and without a moment of doubt, she awarded the duo a perfect score of 10. The audience erupted in cheers, feeling the weight of such a high honor. Next was John Matuzak, a man whose physical stature was matched only by the size of his heart and his appreciation for hard work. John looked at the young men and spoke in a language of metaphors, comparing their performance to the majesty of tall timbers, the clarity of blue skies, and the enduring strength of giant redwoods. It was a brotherly nod to their skill, and he handed down a score of 9.5, which the host rounded to a solid 9 for the tally. The third perspective came from Jane Weedlin, who was celebrating the release of her new album titled Fur. The host suggested that perhaps the dancers could find inspiration in her new tracks, a nod to the interconnected world of music and performance. Jane, with a gentle and encouraging smile, agreed that the performance was exceptional and contributed a score of 9 to the total. These were impressive numbers, reflecting the high quality of the opening act. Curious about the lives these men led when they were not transforming on stage, the host asked about their professions. One revealed he was a computer operator, a fitting role for someone so attuned to the digital pulse of the age, while the other shared that he worked as a salesman. The host joked that he had certainly sold his talent to the audience today. As they prepared to add up the scores, the host encouraged them to show off their robotic moves one more time, marveling at the technical skill involved. With a 10 from Marcia, a 9 from John, and a 9 from Jane, Automatictron walked away with a grand total of 28 points, a formidable start to the afternoon. The atmosphere shifted slightly as the next act was introduced. The host spoke of a performer who played the spoons, perhaps harboring dreams of moving onto larger kitchen utensils like ladles or spatulas. It was a humble yet traditional form of entertainment that relied on rhythm and a bit of domestic magic. "Please welcome Eddie Carruth," the host said, though the performance that followed met a swift and noisy end. The gong sounded, a signature sound of the show that signaled a divergence in taste between the performer and the judges. The host expressed a sincere sympathy for Eddie, acknowledging that it was a tough break. He turned to Marcia and Jane, seeking to understand why they had decided to end the act so quickly. Marcia, always quick with a quip, suggested that there were simply better ways to use spoons in this world. Despite the briefness of his appearance, the host thanked Eddie for coming by, maintaining the spirit of kindness that defined the program. Before the show moved into its next phase, the host shared a light-hearted observation. He suggested that if anyone had never considered group therapy, they might find the idea more appealing after seeing the acts yet to come. It was a gentle reminder that the show was a place where everyone, no matter how unusual their talent, could find a moment in the spotlight. He promised that the excitement would continue after a short break, keeping the viewers anchored to their seats. Upon returning, the host introduced Oscar Virgen, an act so unique that he jokingly suggested anyone who had not heard of him was part of a large and rapidly growing organization of nearly everyone on Earth. Oscar began to sing a song for a girl named Donna, but before he could truly find his stride, the gong echoed through the studio once more. The host checked on Oscar, ensuring he was all right, and then turned his attention to Marcia, who had been the one to strike the gong. When asked why she had stopped the performance, Marcia humorously claimed that Donna had told her to do it. When the host asked if there actually was a Donna, Oscar admitted with a shy smile that there was not. He had simply made it up to fit the song. Beyond his aspirations as a musician, Oscar shared that he worked as a cashier. The host thanked him for his participation, expressing hope that they would see him again, and teased Marcia for her playful explanation. The next performer arrived by his own special request, a man named Ramesh who had traveled from far away to share his gifts. Ramesh carried himself with a quiet dignity that immediately won over the audience. The host inquired if he was from the local area, to which Ramesh replied that he was an actor from India, a veteran of the vibrant world of Indian cinema. He often played characters that reflected his heritage, and the host found himself genuinely charmed by Ramesh's presence. The judges were equally intrigued. Jane Weedland noted that being on the show had provided her with many new fashion ideas, and she pointed to Ramesh as a prime example of what might be trendy in the coming months. It was a moment of cultural appreciation, highlighting the diverse tapestry of people who made the show so special. Though the performance was brief, the warmth Ramesh brought to the stage lingered long after he departed. The show then took a turn toward the world of stand-up comedy with the arrival of Peter Chan. Peter introduced himself as a good driver, immediately diving into a routine that poked fun at common stereotypes with a sharp and self-aware wit. He joked about the creation of a National Asian Speeding Association and the idea of changing speedometers so that drivers thought they were going 65 when they were actually going 45. His humor was observational and self-deprecating, touching on the frustrations of being misunderstood by other drivers on the freeway. Peter shared anecdotes about the silent judgments of fellow motorists and his own unique way of handling stop signs. He admitted that he wrote all his own jokes, a fact that the host and the panel acknowledged with a nod to his creativity. However, John Matuzak eventually reached for the gong. John explained that while he liked Peter as a person and admired his sense of style, the jokes felt a bit like his description of his driving. Peter revealed that in his daily life, he worked as a computer programmer, proving once again that the contestants were people of many talents. The host thanked him and encouraged him to go back to his programming with a smile. As the show moved toward another interval, the host encouraged the audience to stay tuned, promising more excitement in the next episode. He took a moment to reintroduce the celebrity panel, expressing his gratitude for their presence. Marsha Warfield talked about her travels across the country, where she brought warmth, merriment, and humor to people from all walks of life. The host praised her as a sweetheart and a great lady. John Matuzak, the former football star for the Los Angeles and Oakland Raiders, was now making waves as a movie actor. He spoke about his new action-adventure film titled Maximum Force, expressing his excitement for his first starring role. Jane Wiedlin reminded everyone about her album Fur and her new single Inside a Dream, urging the audience to support her music. She also made a playful observation about the audience's occasional cruelty, which the host took as a sign of the high energy and high stakes of the competition. The final act of the day was a young woman named Francesca, who arrived with a powerful voice and a fascinating family history. Before she began to sing, the host noted that her father had served in the Secret Service and had recently retired. Francesca shared a charming story about meeting President Reagan twice, laughing at the fact that he did not remember her the second time. The host joked about the introduction her father might have given, and then the music began. Francesca sang with a soulfulness that filled the room, her voice carrying the emotional weight of a seasoned professional. The judges were visibly impressed. Marsha Warfield praised her confidence and her style, awarding her a 9. John Matuzak declared that he would never forget her performance and that the original artist of the song would be proud, giving her a perfect 10. Jane Wiedlin marveled at the large voice coming from such a small person and added another 9 to the score. The tally was once again 28, creating a dramatic tie between Francesca and Automatic Tron. The tension in the studio was palpable as the judges conferred to decide who would take home the grand prize. The host reminded the viewers that if they had a talent, no matter how unusual, they were welcome to call the station and find their way onto the stage. After a series of messages highlighting the joy of the holiday season with traditional hymns and carols and a preview of a mystery thriller titled Compromising Positions starring Susan Sarandon and Raul Julia, it was time for the final announcement. The host thanked the musicians and all the contestants for their bravery and spirit. The winner was announced: Automatic Tron. The men with the incredible robotic movements and the creative costumes came forward to claim their trophy and a check for $701. It was a moment of pure celebration, a testament to the power of creativity and the joy of performance. The host bid everyone a fond farewell, promising more magic in the future. As the credits rolled and the phone number 21344423575 appeared for those wishing to join the legacy of the show. The evening concluded with reminders of the upcoming programming, from the adventures of a handsome English gentleman on Three's Company to the exciting new offerings from Nintendo. It was a day of laughter, inspiration, and the simple pleasure of human connection through the glowing screen of Channel 61.